Hey, I'm Peter Rychlik, and this is my assignment video for the Open Kinetic Chain Exercises and Closed Chain Kinetic Exercises. I'll be starting with Open Chain Kinetic Exercises, and my objective is to describe the exercises, the ways to make it easier and ways to make it more challenging, and the effects that these modifications have on the end user. So starting with bicep curls, we have the weight here. And so your traditional bicep curl will be something like this, moving up to about 3/4 length right before the bicep disengages at the top, and all the way down. So you want to stop before that disengagement and then move down. Now, in order to make the exercise more challenging during the concentric contractions, instead of having the wrist out to the side, you have the wrist flat in front of the body. This tends to isolate the biceps a little bit more and recruit more of the bicep for motion purposes right off the bat, and creates a bit of a stricter form. And then curl it back up, and then back down into the eccentric motion, back up, and back down. Now, to make the bicep curl easier, we simply lower the weight. So instead of 20 pounds, I would be using something like 10 pounds or 5 pounds. So because I don't have a 10 pound or 5 pound weight, I'm going to simply use a cup to demonstrate. And up the cup goes into the position during the concentric contraction, and then during the eccentric motion, down the cup goes. Also, biceps engage isometrically whenever we're holding anything out away from our bodies as well too, generating equal force up as the object is being pulled down by gravity. The lower body open chain kinetic exercise is going to be the standing hip extensions. So we've got these guys, and then moving back to extend our hips. You can feel the hips start to extend outwards as well too. The pelvis, glutes and stuff are activating as well. Same with the adductors and abductors are being activated a little bit as well too. And then back down. And then out. And back down. Now, in order to make this exercise easier, I've recruited the use of a chair. So one can hold down on the chair as well. And this disengages the core, such as the rectus abdominis, and other stabilizing muscles as well, such as the serratus, and it increases the base of support. So that the increase of the base of support, what that provides is greater stability. When you have more of the body touching the ground, making contact with the ground, the more stable the motion is, thus the easier the motion becomes. This is perfect for people with reduced mobility, or such as senior citizens, people with physical disabilities often need the use of props in order to complete an exercise. Also, any people undergoing physiotherapy will often start an exercise that is modified with a prop such as a chair to reduce strain on their body and their stabilizers. And now moving into the closed kinetic exercises, I've selected for the upper body, I've selected the push-up. So I'm going to be moving the camera so you can see below. So for the push-up, you've got the triceps being engaged on the arms, and the shoulders, the infraspinatus, and the pectoralis majoris and minoris as well. So down you go. And that is your basic push-up. Notice how the area and base of support is just my wrists and the tips of my toes, primarily my big toes as well. In order to make the push-up easier, simply increase base of support, put your knees down. It disengages your stabilizers somewhat, quite a bit actually, and allows a greater base of support, greater stability. Thus, it is a much easier motion. Like so. And in order to make it more challenging, I suggest alternating the position of the hands. So moving back up into the standard position and then alternating the wrists. That allows the creation of greater resistance in other supporting muscles. For instance, there's much greater recruitment in the back, in the rear deltoids, stabilizing and evening the body as well too, so that it is not off center. Also recruits more muscles in the shoulders and the back as well too. It definitely makes the motion more difficult. Also, it deepens the chest contractions as well, especially towards the middle of the chest. That cleave between the pecs gets much more apparent with that exercise, with that variation. Before I forget, I also forgot how to make the hip extensions more challenging. So I'm going to raise the camera back up and we shall do that. Okay, so in order to make the hip extensions more challenging, instead of simply being straight and sending it straight back, one can kind of rotate the hips back a little bit and then attempt to elongate and extend the torso over the line of gravity as well too, and then extend out as well. This also decreases the base of support at the bottom down to 1 foot. It also changes the line and center of gravity somewhat, creating a more challenging environment for the body to stand and stabilize. Thus, more muscle fiber recruitment is happening throughout the body as well too. This definitely challenges the user to create a little bit more of a workout that will build balance over time. And going back to the closed chain kinetic exercises, we've got the squat for the lower body. The squat's a fantastic exercise. It is a foundational lift, in my opinion, in any sort of calisthenics or weight training regimen. Due to the environment, I will not be using weights to demonstrate squats. However, squatting will be demonstrated here as well too. So this is your standard squat. So your legs are at shoulder width apart, and the objective is to keep the back straight and sit the hip bones back a little bit down to about 90 degrees so that the leg forms a 90-degree angle relative to the ground, and then back up. And that creates concentric contractions in the hamstrings and eccentric contractions in the quads, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's correct. And the eccentricity and concentricity of those muscles reverse on the upward motion as well. And in order to make the exercise more challenging, instead of going to 90 degrees, one can go past 90 and go all the way down. So like this. And what this modification does is it forces the user to sit down. It is much more difficult to keep the back straight and keep it from arching, but it also recruits more muscle fibers in both the hamstrings and quadriceps, but it also relies much more heavily on the glutes on the way back up. It also challenges stability. As you can see, there was a little bit of rocking motion forward. It challenges the stabilizer muscles quite a bit in order to keep the user from falling over and maintaining a form in an upward direction. In order to make the squat a little bit easier, going down before you achieve 90 degrees, so any angle higher than 90 in an obtuse angle, such as this, would make the squat quite a bit easier, as that disengages the glutes pretty much entirely, so you don't need to have as much muscle fiber recruitment. You don't recruit as many muscle groups either. It also creates a tighter eccentric concentric contraction pattern in the glutes, or in the quadriceps and the hamstrings as well too. So they tend to stay under tension for a less amount of time than they would in either the all the way to the ground or the standard form. Thank you for watching. This has been my kinetic chain exercise assignment, and I hope you have yourselves a great night. Take care.